Hey, welcome to the Heidi Rue Show podcast. I'm Heidi, and this is a place where you're going to hear compelling stories from female leaders, creators, and innovators. Today's guest is Megan Tamte. She is the founder, creator, co-CEO of Evereve. And Evereve is a fashion brand. They have a lot of stores. In fact, over 90 store locations in 27 states. They also have a big e-commerce division, so you can order their stuff online. And then they also have Trendsend, which is a subscription service. So you get paired with a stylist, and then you get the clothes sent right to your door. It's really easy and great. Evereve is such a unique cool store and brand. First of all, just business-wise, they have no debt. Their annual sales are increasing by more than 20%, which is more than twice the retail average, especially now where people are like, retail stores, that's just not a thing anymore. And sales this year from Evereve expected to be over $150 million. And it all started with Megan, a third grade teacher, then turned stay-at-home mom. Her story is fascinating. So you're going to hear that. You're going to hear how an American Idol contestant inspired her. And then you're also going to hear Megan tell this really tough experience that she had in a retail store that led her to even dream up Evereve. We're going to hear about some of the challenges in starting a business and then how she's been able to create this culture that is a culture of service and giving and really puts the customers first. She talks about the science between service and joy, and she's going to share with us a little bit about what she learned and how they implement that in their company. And then we're going to talk fashion, of course. She's going to share with us a few pieces that we all should have in our closet that are going to help us not only be fashionable, but are also functional. And then Megan also shares her favorite piece of clothing as well that she will wear forever and ever. And she had it on today, so you'll see it in the video once that starts. Then at the end, I asked Megan, what is her definition of being a perfect mom? Because she's really seen quite the evolution between teacher, where she got to, go home at least after class and be with her kids, and then to stay-at-home mom, and then to starting her own company. So stick around for that. But just so you know, Megan, the reason why Megan is here on this podcast is because Evereve is opening their first store in Atlanta, and I'm so excited about it. It's going to be at Perimeter Mall. The opening is October the 16th, but then everyone that is a little north of the city, so that includes my sister, which I know she'll be super excited about, Evereve is coming to the Avalon in January, so you're not going to want to miss that. But of course, you can find them online as well, and all that is linked below in the show notes. Another thing that you'll find in the show notes is Megan has a podcast of her own, and it's called In the Dressing Room. It's a mix of fashion and business and motherhood. I think you're really going to love it. So you can find all that out in the show notes, but let's talk to Megan because this was such a fun interview. I know you will love her too. Okay, Megan, I'm so glad that you're here. And I, want to let's take us back just a few years, right?
Yeah.
And just you're in your 20s,
Yep.
You're a brand new mom.
Yep.
You're staying at home doing what you love and what you always wanted to do. But then you kind of felt like it feels like something's not right, or feeling a little like there's something more I want to be doing or something like that. And
Yeah, there's like a rumbling.
yes,
Like a rumbling. I call it a rumbling.
I love that. Well, take us back to that time, because I think so many people can relate to that.
Yeah, it was interesting because I was a stay-at-home mom and had two kids that and I was so grateful and so happy to be home with my children. I was a third grade teacher turned stay-at-home mom, so I was like the best stay-at-home mom.
Oh, I bet you
like
were.
the best, like crafts, schedule.
That's awesome.
We did it all. Museums.
Charts,
like I was together. Charts.
Yes,
Yeah, it was really. I loved it. It was like my little school. It was amazing. But I had a dream. Kind of. All I can say is like brewing inside of me after I had a terrible experience in a dressing room years prior. To that time in my life. I had an experience shopping in a dressing room as a new mom that didn't go very well. And on the way home from that horrible experience, I reimagined a clothing store that would make clothing and fashionable accessible to moms like me. And I had been dreaming about kind of really creating this brand in my mind as I was mothering and taking care of my children. And I guess the best way to describe it was, I would say that this dream was starting to rumble. And there were a couple things that started to happen during this time when I was home with young kids, loving and being so grateful for that place in that time in my life. So it wasn't miserable, but I knew something was going on. And there's three things that showed me that something was wrong. Number one, I was crying a lot. So my poor husband would come home from work and we would have dinner. We would get the kids to bed. And for some reason, some nights I would just cry and he would be like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "I don't know why I'm crying. I don't know. I'm tired." I was very weepy and didn't really understand why. I was not sleeping at night. So I had never had problems sleeping ever in my life. And I was starting to really struggle with insomnia, which was kind of silly because it was the first time my kids were like, maybe at this point they're, 1 and 3. And it's like the first time I can actually maybe start to think about sleeping through the night. And I was struggling to sleep at night.
Yeah. It's like a cruel trick.
It was like a cruel trick, right? And then the third thing was I was watching a ton of reality television. So I was literally living to get my kids in bed at 7:00 so I could lay on the couch and watch reality TV. And that was in the days when it was all just kicking off. It was American Idol, Big Brother, Survivor, you name it. I watched it and I could not wait to watch those shows at night, night after night after I got my kids in bed. So I just wasn't feeling like these three things were just kind of bugging me.
Yeah. And something though clicked after you watched one of those reality shows, right?
Yeah,
Which is so funny. I love that story.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that happened, but a moment that made me take action. A moment that really made me take action. And during this time, I was starting to try to figure out what was wrong. And I had started to get up early in the morning and spend some time in quiet. I'm a woman with a faith, so I started praying and reading and just really trying to get up before the kids were up and the family was up so I could hear voices. And I don't know, I think the voices get really loud when you're a mom. So I just wanted to listen to my own voice and understand what was going on and spend a lot of time in prayer. But yes, during this time, I also was watching American Idol one night. And it was the night that the second season when Clay Aiken and Rueben Studdard kind of like battled it out. And I'll never forget the moment Rueben won. I was watching the confetti fall and the streamers and the music. And I just remember thinking to myself, you are watching other people's dreams come true and at the expense of your own. You're a spectator to Ruben's dream and to all the people at American Idol. I thought of the producers and the people that were making the commercials and the makeup artists. I thought of all the people in that moment, that really epic moment. And I think there was a song about dreams being played. And I just thought about all the people at that moment whose dreams were coming true. And then I saw myself laying on the couch. And it was at that moment that it was epic. It was truly like this dramatic. Like I got up, I turned the TV off, and I said to myself, I'm done watching TV. I'm not going to watch other people's dreams come true at the expense of my own. And then I used that time at night to pour my ideas and my dreams. And at this point, this is like several years of dreaming. For that story I created years earlier, I just started to write my dreams down at night instead of watch other people's dreams come true. So that was the first kind of action step that I took. Yeah.
Take me back to the dressing room moment, though.
Yes.
Because what about it was so emotional or frustrating about that situation?
Yeah. Well, I was a new mom, and it was definitely my first outing looking for fashion after having my baby. And so I wasn't feeling very good about my body. It was still changing a little bit. I think you become a mom and you wonder, like, the world revolves around your child. So you wonder if, like, do I fit into fashion anymore? Does it matter? Like, is it even worth it for me to go find clothing? I did want some clothing that had a little bit of attitude, a little bit of edge. I definitely went out wanting fashion that was going to help me feel less like a mom and more like a woman again.
Yeah.
So there was this little bit of like, but I wanted it to be like also like approachable and I was a mom, so I wanted it to be I wanted fashion that like understood that I needed versatile, modern, comfortable clothes, but I did want it to make me feel modern and relevant and have a little bit of edge. So there was that desire I was looking for sure. I was also looking for help. I was so overwhelmed taking care of my daughter that I just honestly wanted to go into a store and I didn't want to have to figure it out. I wanted someone else to do the work. It takes a lot of work to figure out what fits your body type, what outfits go together, what works for your lifestyle. And I was exhausted and I just wanted someone to hold my hand and say, I will help you put outfits together that are right for your body type, that are right for your style, personality, that are right for your lifestyle. At that point, I was a stay-at-home mom. And so I wanted help. And I think the other thing, I wanted someone I wanted connection. I wanted relationship. I was lonely. I was home with this baby, feeling insignificant, wondering if I mattered. And I just wanted someone to, when I was shopping, to see me and to tell me I was doing a good job, to look at my baby and say, oh, your baby's so cute. I wanted that. I wanted relationship. I wanted connection. So those were the things that I was hoping to find that day and that I did not get. And I ended up in a cold, horrible dressing room all alone with outfits. I put on a top and it looked like a crop top and it wasn't supposed to be a crop top. My baby started crying. No one paid attention to me. I walked out that day without anything. And it was on that drive home. I actually walked out crying without anything, with a crying baby and a lot of sweat. I was sweaty and hot. I remember that day. And it was on the drive home that I started to reimagine what that experience could have been like for a mom like me. And that's where this dream kind of was born.
And so in your journal, when you'd write down these dreams, that's how Evereve came to be.
That's how it came about.
But it wasn't Evereve at the beginning.
It actually wasn't. We had a different name for 10 years. We've been in business for about 15 years. The first 10 years, we called ourselves Hot Mama. And it was an interesting time when this brand was created after that dressing room. I called a neighbor of mine Hot Mama behind her back because she was like, in my mind, she was a little ahead of me on my motherhood journey. And I saw her as a really amazing mom because I saw her take care of her family and she loved her family fiercely, but she also loved herself fiercely. And I knew this because she would get up early in the morning and go surfing. We were living in California at the time, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm from Chicago.
I was thinking it probably wasn't in Minnesota.
I'm from Chicago in the Midwest. And I was like, I didn't know mom surf. And she would like put a little lipstick on. She had just 2 little boys. They were young. She always looked put together. And behind her back, I was like, I want to be like that woman. And Mike and my husband and he didn't call her Hot Mama. That would be weird. I called her Hot Mama behind her back. And the really reason was this idea of, I loved that she took care of her family and she took care of herself. So it was really this horrible shopping experience that I reimagined, as well as this story about how important I believe it is for women and moms to take care of their family and take care of themselves, that kind of moved into this Hot Mama brand that I then started dreaming about, and was for the first 10 years the name we had given our brand. Yeah.
And you moved from California, though, to Minnesota.
We did.
To open up your first store.
We did, yes.
So I'm sure that not everything was like sunshine and roses and you open it up, no problems or
No,
anything.
it was it was, in fact, grand opening day, my husband and I, when our anniversary of our grand opening day comes up every year, everybody's like, oh, congratulations. I still get sick to my stomach. I still, like, to this day, I don't even like to think about the beginning because it was so scary.
What
was
was so scary
terrifying
about it?
Well, the fact that we had no experience in fashion, no experience in retail, just the vulnerability of feeling like, I was thinking even on the plane today, I remember, I don't feel this way anymore because my husband always said, you will become an expert. Like you will be an expert someday. But in the beginning, I was so vulnerable and so fearful of not being an expert. And that made me really feel I had to fight that every day to say I might not be an expert, but here's my story and I have a dream and I'm going to figure out how to make this dream come true. So I had to go to LA, I had to go to New York, I had to buy clothing for the store. I had no experience at all. I had never been a buyer and had to go and buy. I mean, I liked fashion and knew fashion well enough to know what I wanted. And I definitely knew I wanted comfortable, modern, versatile, contemporary clothes, but I had to go figure out how to buy. I had to figure out how to sell product when customers came in. I mean, we knew nothing. We knew absolutely nothing. We absolutely had to be I had to get very comfortable sharing my story and asking for help. And I found out that that's all I could do is I didn't have to pretend. And I would play around with this in my mind a lot. Like sometimes I'd be like, oh, just trick them, make everybody think you know what you're doing.
Right. Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. That didn't work for me.
Yeah.
It's so clear. So my strategy was show up, tell my story because I had a really powerful story, and ask people for help. And for me, that's what I learned to do. And that was I was shaking all the time. But even though I was always constantly scared, because I was scared probably the first 3 years every day, I would just tell myself, just show up, tell your story. Why did I start this brand? Why does it matter? What made me do this? And then ask people to join me and help. And I found out that really, for me, I think people always do want to help. So all of the unknown, people showed me how to do it. And now I can say I'm an expert in some of these areas that I was really insecure about only because other people taught me the way.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that is such a good reminder for me because I'm so independent. So I want to just, a lot of times even just make mistakes. No, I'll figure it out. I'll make the mistakes. But I'm like, you could have just asked somebody for help and saved yourself a lot of time and heartbreak.
It saves a lot of time.
I mean, come on.
It's very vulnerable to do that too. I think you have to be, it does. It's very vulnerable. It's scary, but I've found out that people love to give help. It's a way to, of course, people don't want to give help in areas that aren't there. There's a difference between, I think, giving help where it's like, oh, can you do this for me? But going to experts, going to people who are good at what they do and saying, hey, here's my problem. Can you teach me or help me? People love that, So
do you feel, now are you able to help other people?
I am. Yeah. That's been really fun. And you do feel, when I felt like this brand was transitioning to where I could say, okay, this is successful. I felt very overwhelmed by all the people that gave me opportunities and that helped me, that it's hard not to want to do that because I think of all the people that gave me help. So I do. It was fun. I sat down yesterday with some young entrepreneurs at the office. I gave them an hour and I just sat down with them in my office. I said, okay, you have an hour. How can I add value to you right now? And they just asked me questions and we had an hour together. And that was really, really joyful for me to be able to give back.
Megan, you said something that I wanted to touch on. You said, okay, now I feel successful. Did you always have a point in your mind of like, okay, this is when I'll be successful at this mark? Or did that just come out of a feeling?
Yeah, well, I would say two things happened. Number one, I think when we opened our first store, we had this idea and this dream of what it would be like and look like. And my husband created a financial model that he told me for the store to be financially viable, we would need to hit $1,500 a day in sales. So that was one way to measure our success, because if we didn't hit that number every day, then it was we couldn't have a store.
Sure.
So that was one, felt like, okay, if I can hit that number, we'll be successful. The other piece was, will customers connect with our product and our experience and the brand? And so for me, it was a combination of, okay, are we hitting the number? And when customers come in, are they connecting with our fashion and the story of the brand? And those things happened pretty early on, like within the first, I would say 6 months. You could tell people were like, I like this place. I get it. We had a lot to learn about the fashion, because I think when you open, you put your point of view out there, you learn so much, and then you kind of adjust. So we learned a lot about the fashion, but for the most part, women did what I wanted in the dressing room that day. And we were exceeding that $1,500 goal. Yeah. So that was, I'd say, one area where we knew we were successful. There was always, it wasn't that, probably that, we were always worried. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we thought we made it.
Right.
But it was like, okay, this could work. This could work. I think that the point where it was a turning point for us was my husband and I put everything we had into the brand. We didn't pay ourselves very much. In fact, I couldn't at the time afford clothing to wear in my own store.
Oh my goodness, Megan.
Literally. So we didn't pay ourselves a lot in the beginning. We signed personal guarantees. We knew there were 10 years where we knew, okay, if this thing comes tumbling down, we will lose everything. So that was always in the back of my mind, which was always pretty scary and not very, you kind of always, would always ask my husband, like, are we going to be okay? Like, do I have to get ready to sell the house? And we lived like that for about 10 years. 10 years into the business, we sold part of our company. So we sold to 3 new investors who came on. We still have majority, but my husband and I brought on 3 new partners. One of them is Gordon Siegel, the founder of Crate & Barrel. And so we were able to take some chips off the table. And so we were able to financially feel secure, because we had not felt financially secure for 10 years. So I will say that made us feel like, okay, we made some, we have some security financially. So that was a big, a lot of times when I say success, it was that was a big moment for us, and feeling like, okay, we're not going to lose everything if this ship comes down.
Yeah. And just so everyone that's listening, if you don't know, a personal guarantee is basically you saying, like, if something happens, if I can't pay the rent or if I can't pay this off or whatever, then either you can come after my house or any of my personal belongings, not just business. And that is scary.
That's so scary.
We just did that for our space.
It's so scary.
We had to sit down and go, okay, if worse comes to worse,
I know.
Are we okay with that?
And that's what I had to do. When my husband, the night before we signed our lease, my husband, we sat down and talked, and he, we had this $1,500, and he was like, I was like, okay, I think I can hit it. And I remember asking him, if I don't hit that, like, will we lose our house? He was like, yeah, you will. And then I think what I did, I went on a walk that night by myself. I was like,
You're
okay,
I need to
excuse
get
me.
out. Yeah.
I will get back to you if
Right.
I'm going to sign this lease,
Yeah.
And I went back that night, and I remember I thought about the worst case scenario. I thought about, okay, if this doesn't work, what's going to happen? Like, what are you going to do? And I thought I could go back to teaching. I could live in my parents' basement. And then I thought that might be, I had 2 young kids at the time. I'm like, that might be really nice.
Yeah.
My mom would probably make me dinner every night and love free babysitting,
Right.
But I remember thinking, can I lose, like, will I be okay losing this? Because that, when you sign a personal guarantee, it comes down to the line like that, right?
Right. That's
I'm making you
amazing.
scared right now.
No,
what
not
that's
at
like.
all. It's actually
know-
very encouraging.
good,
Because
good.
you
know
because
how
it's
scary
so
that is.
it's so nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But then I believe in what we do.
Right. And
here,
don't you
so-
think sometimes, like, I look back on that and I'm like, because it was so clear that this had to succeed, I wasn't going to come home at night until I hit that number. Like, these young entrepreneurs in my office yesterday, I was telling them, I said, you know what? I had to hit $1,500 a day. And I literally would call my husband if I was closing up shop at night. And I remember oftentimes someone would come in and be like, oh, can I come in? And I would be like, turn the lights back on, get the music going. And I would be like, oh, I'm fine. Yes, I was planning on staying all night. You know, you can. I remember many times they would be in the dressing room for like an hour, and I would call my husband and I just would say, I'm not coming home. I'm staying here. Feed the kids, give them a bath. I'll give them a kiss when I get home. And just because when you put your house up, when you sign up, you're like, I'm gonna hustle hard.
Right.
Like, I think I used to chase customers out the door. I mean, I did whatever I could. I hustled so hard to hit that goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't actually talk about that we were going to talk about this, but I wanted to ask you, since you mentioned that with kids and running the business, especially at the beginning, because that's a lot of time. So how did you just say this is a team effort between you and your husband?
We did.
And we'll just do what we can to be there for the kids
We
as
did.
much as possible?
It was a team effort. The beautiful thing about running a business with your husband is you have the same priorities. So you care about the success of your family and you care about the success of your job, your work. So that's a beautiful thing. And so I would say in the very beginning, our traditional roles, we were very, I would say, traditional before we started Evereve. I was home, he was working. They flipped. And it was fun. I think it was really an exciting time for us because I was learning, and he was very involved in the beginning, but he would work at night and he wasn't in the store every day like I was. But he would be like, I was learning business. I was learning how to sell. I was learning how to run a shop. And he was at home, in addition to his work at Everett. He was like, I have to cook dinner tonight. And how do you make dinner? And I remember at our best days, we've gone, I don't know, our roles are, I probably go back to like more cooking and he goes, but I would say in our best days in the early beginning, I would come home and he'd have like a candlelight dinner waiting for me. And I would come home and like put my feet up. So I would say we just kind of really were in the space of just exploring other sides of ourselves that maybe we didn't know we had inside of us. And there was something really sweet about that. But we really also, I tell people, we really prioritized and said no to everything that wasn't about work or the kids or the family. I mean, we were like no machines. We said no and made so many sacrifices. We chose our top priorities, which for us are our faith, our family, and our work, and pretty much anything that didn't fall under one of those priorities, we didn't do. So I didn't have a beautiful house. I love to decorate homes. I love how my house feels. That went out the door. I gave up being a perfect third grade teacher, kind of perfect.
Because I'm guessing that your husband did not have charts.
He did not have charts.
No projects.
He did go on a lot of field trips. I will say he did the field trip thing because I was in the stores. But we did. Yeah, we were very much tag teaming. But saying no, a lot of social, like we didn't have a strong social life. We weren't running out with neighbors. I think that was a big thing we let go of and it was such a short time, was a lot of social stuff with friends. So I really am grateful because right now that looks like such a short time in our life but it was a really important time to stay really focused so we could be there for our kids.
And I read that you really decided on those values at the very beginning.
We did.
Which I think is so helpful.
We did.
I am a huge believer in setting values for your family and your business. And Evereve has set a good foundation of values and culture.
So
tell me more about that. And
yeah,
what that
we
looks
decided, it was very scary for me to go from being a stay-at-home mom to jumping into a dream and starting a retail brand. Right. And I knew it was going to take a lot of work. And I was very fearful that it would damage my children. I was very worried that, oh my goodness, if I follow this dream, is it going to be selfish? Am I going to harm my children? Are they going to feel ignored? Or, I'm a worst case scenario person. I'm like, are they going to, go to drugs and blah, blah, blah. Like I had a worst case scenario. I was so fearful of that. And I think we need to listen to our fear. Like, I think we need to like not be, not submit to it, but also to say, what's this about? Like, why am I so scared of this? And pay attention to it. And I think, I really believe from the bottom of my heart that our kids need to see their moms and their dads living fully and following their dreams and focusing on, creating and building things. Like, that's a beautiful gift to give to your children. But I also think to do that, they need you to be present. They need us to be around. They need us to be part. They need to feel seen. So for us, jumping into this was scary. So we had talked about that before we committed to doing it. We will say we will keep our family, a top priority over friends, over a perfect house, over everything. And we did that. We did that by saying no to a lot of things.
Yeah. What are the values of Evereve? Like for the
Mhm.
employees and everything?
Yeah,
What
the
is it?
values of Evereve, we call them heart values. And they are really values that, I learned, or didn't learn, but practiced when I was on the styling floor working with customers, that I felt when practiced, everybody experienced joy, and store sales, were strong. And they are the values of humility, empathy, authenticity, relationship, and tenacity. So those are the 5 values. We call them heart values. And they really drive how we treat our customer, how we treat each other at Evereve, and how we treat our business partners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes into this science between like service and joy. And you said that you have really studied a lot
Yeah.
about that. Tell me more about
Yeah.
it.
Well, our at Evereve, our mission is to deliver joy one outfit at a time. And so joy for us is very different than happiness. It's a little deeper than that. And one of the, pillars of joy, one of the things that really makes people feel joy is living a life of service to others. So we learned at Evereve, I learned when working with customers that I loved my job in fashion so much more when I was really, there not to sell to the customer, but really there to serve her. And to really there to, I think back to that day when I was crying in the dressing room, really there to make her feel seen, and to, build a relationship with her, to get to know her, to understand. I mean, she's in the store for fashion. So to understand who she is and what she wants, and to just deliver clothing to her that is going to make her feel, experience the joy of clothes. So much of our success, I think, comes from hiring people who, love fashion, but they love people more and they care about people. And that is, what happens when that happens is everybody experiences joy. The customer experiences joy, and then the stylists in our store, we experience joy, because what's better than making someone's day, or making someone feel great in an outfit is really, rewarding. It's really rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah. I just absolutely love that. Let's talk though about fashion, because now you're an expert at fashion. I mean, we can say that now, right?
Well, I would, I love fashion. I'm now an expert. Yes.
I mean, you shopped for a while for Evereve, so
I do.
I think that I think we can definitely say you're an expert.
Yes. We do know our customer very well, and we do know what she loves, and our buying team gets it
Right on.
right. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I know. I love
Yeah.
the pieces that you guys have.
Thank you.
It is
Yeah.
perfect. It's there's so many things that I'm like, that would be functional and look really
Totally.
good.
Yeah.
Which
Our
is wonderful.
our customers, it's so interesting. They want, women right now, I think, gone are the days when we change for different things.
Right. So ain't
No
nobody
more.
got time for that.
Versatile, versatile. Like, I can wear this to work. I can wear it to a baseball game. I can wear it on a date night with my husband. I can wear it, the pieces need to be very versatile and comfortable, modern, on trend, but not too far on trend, with just a little bit of sexiness is sort of our recipe.
So what are some of those pieces? I mean, right now you have, if you're listening, Megan has this gorgeous like blue jean jacket on, which I love.
Yeah, like
a
the
denim jacket is good.
zippers and-
But your denim jacket too, it looks like it's kind of fitted in the side a little bit.
Yeah. Our clothing is contemporary. So we shop at contemporary markets. And when you shop contemporary, it means the clothing is just a little more fitted. It just has, more body forming lines. We size up to a 16 comfortably, but the woman that shops with us is looking not to hide herself, to show her curves. So our clothing has, it's very age appropriate for women like me, but it does have fit to it, which is really nice. Yeah, and our customer wants that.
Mm-hmm. What are some other like good pieces that we should have to have a nice versatile wardrobe?
Well, I think, right now, what everybody's loving is joggers. Whether you can wear them with a sneaker or you wear them with a heel.
Heels look great too.
We're having so much fun. Right now, bottoms are having a moment. They are.
I like it.
Bottoms are having a moment. If we have sanctuary bottoms that are plaid with just like stripes on the side. Those are super fun. We have joggers and camo and animal. And fashion right now is really joyful. Fashion is it's a moment where I think so much in the world is so hard. And I think fashion right now is just sort of like the place where we can just experience some fun and play and have fun. So, joggers are super versatile for work and for home. Sneakers are having a moment.
Oh my gosh. And there's so many good sneakers out there now.
It's addicting.
It's
addicting. And it's really fun. And it's really a gift to be able to, women are wearing sneakers to work. They are wearing them with denim. They're wearing them with skirts and dresses. So right now we're having a moment with sneakers and we are just loving it. We have a brand called P448, which I'm wearing right now. And they're just kind of like just really fun, I would say fancy sneakers.
Yeah.
And like I said, they go with joggers for the weekend. Right now we're loving midi skirts for work with a sweater and sneakers. That's a really, I think, a really important, very important trend right now that makes our customers so happy. But jackets, the other thing, Evereve right now, our jackets are just on fire right now. So I would say the thing that I think is the most important is a really super fun, crazy pant with a print. Yeah. A t-shirt, like a lot of our graphic tees with words like gratitude, or we do a lot of bands are hot right now. I have a shirt I'm wearing tonight that says book club. So really kind of simple shirts with some words on them, with a really fun, really kind of sexy jean jacket or any kind of jacket that has stretch. So our customers don't want anything that's gonna not be stretchy.
Right.
So for us,
I love that.
Our buyers won't even they won't bring it in if it doesn't have stretch to it.
Yeah.
So kind of like a great fitted jacket that's a little sexy, has a nice silhouette, that has a little stretch with a graphic tee and a jogger or a legging that's really kind of has a little fun to it. I would say that's a really great outfit right now. Again, you can wear it anywhere.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love that sneakers are so in.
I know. So fun.
I've done so many things to my feet over the years.
I know.
And so
I know. It's like such a gift. It's such a gift to women.
So what about you? What is like a piece that you've had in your wardrobe for like years that you're like, I'll never
Jean
get rid of
jacket.
it?
I mean, I travel all the time. I'm on a plane. Go from hot weather to cold weather I always have a jean jacket. And I just actually bought I always am updating my jean jacket though, right? Like I love it. It's an essential. I wear it all the time. But I'm always looking for a way to like evolve it. And I just thought we just had one in the store that I'm like, this is a beautiful way to evolve it. I bought it yesterday and it's too hot to wear it today, but it's by a brand Good American and it's a great fitted jean jacket. It has stretch, but it has a little navy blue, like just faux fur. It's got a little glam to it.
Yeah.
It's like a glamorous jean jacket. So
wait, Megan, you went into your store and bought
I
a jean
do.
jacket
I know,
from your
I
own
know.
store.
I do buy from my own store. I know I get a good discount. I get a good discount. Yeah. Yeah. I like to play customer though.
Yeah.
People laugh at that. I think first of all, not ever, I don't know. I've always done it. I like to play customer. Yeah. I love it. It makes me make decisions. I think it keeps everybody in check. It doesn't make it look like I'm I'm special. And we have a lot of employees that work for us. I feel like not everybody can take fruit. Why should I do that? So I do get a good discount, and I'm probably our number one shopper, I will say.
It's probably good to have that perspective.
I think it's really good to have that perspective.
Like how somebody goes into the store and sees everything.
I pride myself in being our customer. Like I never opened this company because I thought I had some women are like, I have a great sense of style and I have a particular style, or mine wasn't about it was a little bit about the aesthetic. It was about this modern, versatile, comfortable, approachable fashion with just the right edge, but it was never about me. It was always about creating a brand for that woman in the dressing room. It wasn't about creating a brand for me, if that makes sense. I mean, it was what I wanted. So I feel like I'm the customer, and I try really hard I like to experience what the customer experienced. So I like to go in and shop at my own store. And ask for help from the stylist, and it's the best in our stores. Yeah.
Well, you can see this theme throughout, even from the beginning of that service. And what you were just saying is like, I see it through my customer's eyes.
Yeah.
Like I'm creating the brand for them.
Yes.
And what a beautiful thing to be able to see all these years that theme has carried through.
Yeah,
and
we feel so
I really
grateful.
think that it's probably a huge reason why you guys are so successful.
I feel so, yeah.
So, but the cool thing about, and why you're even here, like in person in Atlanta, is because you guys are opening your first Atlanta store here. And we're so excited. Oh my goodness.
We've been wanting to come to Atlanta for a long time.
Well, Red Rover,
we are so excited. I'm here. We're going to have a little party downtown tonight. Yes.
And so the Perimeter Mall location is going to open October 16th.
Yes.
And then you've also got one. See, I'm already like, because now I'm on the bandwagon.
I love it.
But it opens up in January, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Mid-January, we open up in Avalon.
That's
at
awesome.
Avalon. Yeah.
My sister's going to be so excited. She lives over in that area, and she can
I hear that's a beautiful mall.
It's so beautiful. I'm actually going over there tomorrow. It's
are
beautiful.
you? Oh,
yes.
Good. Yeah.
But anyways, the other thing I want to mention is that you guys have a podcast.
I do. Yes.
So tell me about the podcast.
Yes, I just launched my first podcast maybe 6 weeks ago. It's called In the Dressing Room with Megan Tamte. And so I wanted it to be, the dressing room is a very vulnerable space for women. And our brand was created after this very vulnerable experience I had in a dressing room. So yeah, the podcast is called In the Dressing Room, and we're still learning and kind of trying to understand the conversations we want to have, but we're talking about business. Leadership is a conversation I love to have. We always have to talk about fashion. Because I'm an entrepreneur, I think there's hints of entrepreneurism in there. And motherhood comes up. I'm interviewing my daughter is next week. Last week I interviewed Gordon Siegel, who's the founder of Crate and Barrel. So it's a real interesting mix of conversations, but always an element of business, leadership, fashion, and motherhood.
I mean, that sounds
kind of
awesome.
Who I am.
Yes, I think that sounds so awesome. I can't wait to listen.
Yeah. Thank you.
So just to tie everything up, now after being in business for 15 years, going from third grade teacher, stay-at-home mom, to mom in business, changing roles and everything, what do you feel like your definition of the perfect mom is today?
Yes, that I do a lot of thinking about that. My definition of the perfect mom is, let me see, how can I articulate quickly? The perfect mom to me is, for me, being true to who I am, showing my kids that I'm going to live my life wholeheartedly and authentically while championing and loving them at the same time. That would be what I think the perfect mom is. Yeah.
I mean, I think you said it perfectly. Megan, thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you.
And
it's a joy to be here.
I
and
hope all of my Atlanta friends can go
Thank
check out the
you.
stores.
We're
and then if
so
you're not here in
excited.
Atlanta, then check out Evereve at one of their other wonderful
Yeah,
locations.
we have 90 stores across the country. We have a really great e-com site, and we have a subscription styling service called Transcend. So yeah, check us out. Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Heidi Rue Show podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you can catch the next one, and make sure you hit that bell. And if you'd like to listen via the podcast platforms, you can find those below. We would love to hear from you. Join in on the conversation on Instagram or Facebook. And I hope this episode encouraged you. Don't stop, get it, get it.